Mexico has surpassed China as America's top trading partner, signaling a changing dynamic within the global economy. The shift reflects the increasing tensions and deteriorating relations between Washington and Beijing. So I want to bring in Leda Maiden. She's an investing correspondent at Insider. Layla, really good to have you here. So I'm Canadian, and one of our things we used to always sort of brag about is we used to say, well, we're America's #1 trading partner. Clearly, that went out the window a long time ago. So not only is Canada no longer the #1 trading partner, neither is China. How significant is it that Mexico has replaced both those countries?
Funny fact, I'm Canadian too, and I remember that bragging myself. But it is significant in the sense that, well, some of the commodities and products traded between Canada and China, Canada and the US versus the US and Mexico differ a little, but it's substantial in the sense that the border between the US and Mexico, there's a lot of manufacturing partnerships there that keep about 5 million US jobs in the country. And so it's not just about the trade relationship between Mexico and the US, but it's also about the manufacturing partnerships. There's a deal that shows that anywhere between 70 to 75% of products that are or parts manufactured in the US taken into Mexico in the assembly line have no tariffs on them. And so that relationship runs deep, especially in the areas like the automotive industry or electronic parts.
So, and as I understand it, though the shift has been rapid, the seeds were planted years ago. So I have a twofold question. Like, what are the factors that have led to this, and did the pandemic accelerate it?
Yes, absolutely. Well, in 2018, we saw tariffs being increased on China. Till this day, about 66% of Chinese exports into the US are subject to tariffs of as high as 19%. China retaliated and put tariffs on the US for as high as 21%. So you're looking at really sky high tariffs. These are double the amount of tariffs that countries part of the World Trade Organizations pay. The average tariff internationally is at 9%. So when those tariffs went sky high, of course, that's going to be a natural sort of free market force moving to where tariffs are going to be lower. But then, China had the toughest lockdown policies during COVID, which really halted its manufacturing sector and supply chain issues. So, this has been a long time coming.
And I can't find the word. It's sort of a new word in regards to supply chains and trying to keep them closer rather than further away. And that was something that the pandemic sort of brought to light. So I want to ask you if this is a shift that we're seeing, beyond the US. We're seeing maybe a shift globally.
Yeah, it's nearshoring. So when you're sort of trading with a country closer to you, and did the pandemic do some of this? Yes, it did. When we saw issues with supply chains, ships going across the world to ship things, but also it's the Amazon Prime effect. It's called the Amazon Prime effect because, as we start to order things online, we want things sometimes shipped the same day or next day. And so when it comes to things like electronics and bigger products, it's a lot easier to just trade with a country closer to you. And also, we think about climate change as well. When you're not using all that fuel and those ships going across the world to deliver all these goods and services, it is a lot more efficient and quicker.
Layla, great talking to you. Also great talking to a fellow Canadian.